Good morning. Make sure all my audio stuff is working correctly. And it looks like it is. Okay. That's a little housekeeping things. All my my presets and my plugins and stuff got lost updating the streaming software, so I hope everything's working the way it should. If not, I'm sure somebody will tell me. There we go. We're doing a whole bunch of these today. A whole group of them. What do you call a group of lenses? A flock? A case? I don't know. Live streaming is back. It is, yeah. I had to take a break for a little bit. Some family stuff, some travel, a little work stuff. We had we had a bunch of manufacturing that was backed up for a whole bunch of different reasons, some of which COVID related. Finally, we're able to sort of catch up on our backlog of manufacturing, which meant the machines here were running full bore, and it's just not a good environment to do a mod stream in. It's too loud, it's too hectic, so got a nice quiet Saturday, I hope. We'll see. Sticker's already peeling off. This is a brand new lens, and the serial number sticker is coming off. It's kind of important. These lenses, for having a plastic body, they feel surprisingly good. The torque is nice, the viscosity is nice. You don't get any of that, well, I had a tiny bit there, but like squeezing the pieces. You don't get any plasticky flex, maybe a tiny bit on the front housing. Yeah, a little bit there. But all in all, kudos to Fujinon. Anyways, today we're doing the back end. We're changing all of these mounts from E mount to RF mount. Oh, quick housekeeping first. Shoot. One moment. Gotta get this squared away. This is the housekeeping stuff that I did not take care of prior. Okay. I think we're all set there. I hope. Duclos will be in CINE-Gear. The plan is to exhibit at CINE-Gear, but everything is so up in the air. Yeah, I think even CINE-Gear doesn't know everything that's going on right now. They moved it to the LA Convention Center, which is a pretty big bummer. Everybody loved the Paramount backlot. I think that was a big draw for people coming from out of town, getting to step foot in the Paramount backlot. The convention center's fine. It's a nice, modern convention center. It just doesn't have that charm that the Paramount backlot did. So, it is what it is. But we are signed up to be an exhibitor, so in what capacity, I don't know yet. We could have a bunch of stuff on display. It could be me sitting at a table saying hi to people. We'll see. Will you be at CINE-Gear? Who was asking that? Adelson, will you be at CINE-Gear? planning to go, but I live in Brazil. That's a heck of a flight. We have a lot of customers in Brazil. Apparently the film industry is booming there. I need to squeeze these tweezers down a little bit. They're a little too aggressive. Oh, nice. Very nice. Oh, you know what? I didn't grab. Actually, these should be okay because they're not chewed up. Find out. We'll see. We'll see. Stream is back for the moment. Hopefully I can keep it up, but if I don't keep up with it, it's for good reasons. It's not that I can't do it or not motivated to do it. It's because I'm too busy with work that is just not conducive to the mod stream. Like I was saying a minute ago, the loud stuff, the manufacturing stuff, the things that make doing the mod stream less appealing to you guys. You would not want the mod stream if the machines were going full bore right now. It would be annoying and loud. Or like in the what was it? In spring, I think. A couple months back when it was super windy here. Oh man, all you could hear was the creaking and rattling of the ceilings here. It was terrible. I think the music is a little loud. There, that's better. I was saying when I first started this stream that I had an update with the streaming software, OBS, and somehow in that process I lost all my scenes, my presets. So all my audio stuff, all my audio settings and presets are just gone. So I had to spend a decent amount of time getting everything squared away. Hopefully it's back to where it was, but where it was prior to a couple months back had taken months to sort of dial in. So I should have should have written it all down or something. Screenshotted. I don't know. So speaking of the audio, for those of you that are here still, how does it sound? Is it decent? Do I need to fix anything? Where's Phil Holland when you need him? He's my resident sound critique. All right, that's all cleaned up. Yeah, I don't know what happened to this one. He's got something got wedged in there and they got spaced super far. I'll have to heat it up and pinch it so that it stays. Okay. I saw the recruitment post on Instagram, but I'm nowhere near the standard. There is no standard. The standard is passion and intelligence. Well, I should clarify for the junior tech position that we posted as available. Yeah, there's really no prerequisites aside from common sense, maybe some technical aptitude, and passion. But for the actual lens technician, yeah, you have to have experience as a lens tech. All right, so some of these are going to need some additional pieces. possible to install the 80mm front ring on Leica R16? No, it is not, because it has a big old protruding front element with a scalloped, integrated scalloped sunshade, or pedal sunshade. Sadly, that is not possible. Ugh, it vibrated. Probably the trickiest part of this entire install, believe it or not, is keeping these shims aligned. On most lenses, the shims sit in sort of a bore. You know, they have an OD that keeps them centered, but this one just sits on a surface and they can go anywhere, which makes it kind of challenging to align properly. Or I should say, to keep them aligned properly. Okay, so that's getting stuck on something. Oops, wrong cup. That's all right, that's just acetone. Hey, there's Phil. Just shot with the MKRs this week. MK versus DZO. Ooh, that's a tough choice. Depends on your requirements. If you're shooting Komodo or C70, something like that, and you know that you're an RF mount, I would go MKR all the way, definitely. If you plan on shooting on different platforms and you need that versatility, if you want to use PL or EF mount, the DZO are definitely a more versatile choice. As far as image quality goes, MKs are going to be better by a significant margin. In that field, there's no contest. The MKs are definitely a better optical design. See, I can't get that shim aligned. Oh, it's way off. Okay, I think this does need different screws. These are, oh, maybe not. These are the correct length. Well, we'll find out. It's either going to work or it won't work. Hey, Johnny Blevins. Good to see you again. Hi, I'm from France. Nice to hear from you again. Yay. I'm starting lens modding just for hobby, not for business. Any advice? Ooh. Advice would be find some thrift store lenses, junk lenses, and experiment as much as you can. Just learn from experience. There's a lot. I think my biggest piece of advice is there's a lot of bad advice on the internet from people that don't necessarily have the experience. They just heard it from someone else and they repeat it, and that sort of stuff gets perpetuated. So be careful there. All right. There's some bits about this mount conversion that I sometimes wish I had designed slightly differently. The process to tune it is very simple. It's just time consuming. And the only reason I designed it that way was to make it look prettier in the end. So it definitely could have been easier to install, quicker to install, if I wasn't aiming for such a pretty end product. You know what, let's try this little guy. No, that one's busted. I don't want a matte box. I'm looking for a lens shade, 77mm, with a sort of window in order to turn the vario filter. I can't find any. That's a very, very specific product. A shade. I mean, that would be easy to make. I don't know. The tricky part there is you'd have to make something that appeals to a wide range of people. Otherwise, the cost goes through the roof. Yeah. That's hard. Okay, that one is installed but not tuned. Oh, I don't have caps either. I should have grabbed caps. MK 18-55 versus Sigma 18-35. Same issue as before. If you're going to be using a reflex style camera, PL or EF, and you need the speed, I'd go with the Sigma. If you want to stay super light and nimble on something like a Komodo, then I would go MK. But then it's also circumstantial. If you already own the 18 to 35 Sigma, I wouldn't recommend ditching it and getting a Fujinon. Mamiya used to have square shades that can be open in one side, but too small. I mean, that filter thing that you're talking about has been done. I think Irix does it on some of theirs. I think Nikon has done it. There's a little window that you slide and lets you get to the filter. I think Sigma does it on some of their stuff. MK zooms versus picture zooms in terms of look depends on the look you're going for. If you want a clean, more accurate look, I'd say the MK is definitely the choice. If you're looking for something a little bit more flawed, dare I say vintage-esque, I would say go for the Pictor. Okay, I need to go grab some caps. I need to swap out these screws. And what else do I need? I think that's all I need. All right. Hey, from Sweden. Hey, Philip from Sweden. Iron glass Soviet lens rehousings and general boom of rehousing companies. Any thoughts? Iron glass stuff is okay. I haven't talked about this openly, but I did see a massive difference between some of their early stuff and then some of their most recent work. Their early stuff looked nice and consistent and very thoughtful, well done. But they had some newer stuff that I saw come out that it looked like the quality went down, just aesthetically. I don't know, I haven't actually used the newer versions. I haven't felt them, I haven't seen how they perform. But I don't know, their stuff is really affordable, so I think it's cool what they're doing. I love the vintage, the Helios stuff. I've always loved that as a look. I don't necessarily like it mechanically. Is there a 20 to 200 or something close to that range for full frame or Super 35? Sort of. That's kind of an odd range. You've got something like a 25 to 250. You get the Ingenue, you have the new Canon 25 to 250. But they're going to be pretty pricey. They're not in this price range. They're going to be upwards of $20,000-$30,000. But for full frame, not really. Those are Super 35. Both of those are well. The 25 to 250 has an integrated tele extender that, when it's engaged, kind of covers full frame. It's not meant to cover. It's not designed to cover, but it works. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab those caps and some screws. Duclos CINE-MOD, the pet's fault. No, not really. I mean, we could add a focus gear. No. No, we can't. That's the one with the knob, right? I think it has a knob. I mean, we could put a gear on the knob, but you'd have to figure out how to get your motor up to that knob. Oh, let me try these screws here. I don't know if I grabbed the right length. Nope. Maybe. Let's compare. Oh, we have a new function here. Watch this. Oh, it's not quite as zoomed in as I was hoping. That was a big hiccup. I don't know if it froze for you guys, but it definitely froze for me. How do I do that? There we go. I can't get it any closer because I can't drag the box. Oh, maybe I can. Let's try this. Oh, there we go. There. That's as zoomed in as I can get it. Anyways, so yeah, it's cutting it close. I think this is the correct length, so let's try it. Stainless, non-magnetic. I still have full travel. Yes, we do. Awesome. The reason I like to swap them out is the original ones that come off the lens are usually covered in glue, and honestly, they're just not very good. They're not very good quality. They're oxidized. I like a nice, clean, shiny screw. These are proper stainless steel. None of that plated junk. If you get stuck with one focal length, what would you choose? Depends on the format I'm shooting. If I'm shooting full frame, I would probably go with a 65. If I'm on Super 35, I'd probably go with a 35. If I'm on Micro Four Thirds, I'd probably choose a 20 something. Okay, I'm gonna, why is this acting up so much? I'm gonna close this one. Hopefully that helps. Oh, I forgot we're still zoomed in. I'm sorry. Alright, so we've got all new screws in there. Actually, here, yeah, you can see that zoomed in. That looks so much nicer. Except it won't focus now. I also hate that every RF mount cap is like this big chunky dual wall affair. Nobody makes like a plain cap. Even the Fujinon, even the E-mount one that comes on the Fujis is this like dual wall design. I don't know why. It's just the new trend. But it just looks funny now because the back of it is wider than the body. But whatever. Alright, so one down. That'll go to tuning. Next. Oh, and then at some point, either when I finish with enough of these or I get tired of them and want to switch it up, I got, actually let me just preview this real quick for you guys. I got this from AlphaGuard. I think that's how you pronounce it. I think it's just supposed to be a clever spelling. I don't know. But it's a camera skin for my Komodo. So we're going to install this and see if it works, see how well it works. Because I think it's pretty cool. So we'll find out. Okay. Do you think the RF mount will replace the EF in the future, modding and whatnot? Not immediately. There's a lot of, I have a lot of thoughts on that. I've been meaning to write a thorough blog post to spell it out, to really explain it well. I don't think the RF mount will replace the EF mount right away. I think it will happen eventually. The problem with that is what I would call the inchworm effect. You know, when the camera manufacturers reduce that flange depth and they say, okay, now you can use any lens you want on here. Well, eventually everyone starts making lenses for that flange depth, and it's going to get shorter and shorter and shorter, and that margin is going to be so narrow that you'll only be able to use Canon lenses on Canon cameras and Nikon lenses on Nikon cameras, so on and so forth. Sony, Pentax, whatever. I mean, Olympus, whatever the case is. And it'll be great for vintage lenses because you'll be able to use all of those lenses. But the farther we go down that line, let's say the whatever modern, let's say this Fuji MK, it's an E-mount and it's being converted to RF mount. In 10 years when this lens, or 20 years when this lens is considered vintage, it's already a shallow flange design. It's not going to be able to be adapted to other camera flanges without doing a hard conversion like what we're doing here now. So the progress will catch up to itself eventually, and it won't be as useful. So basically right now we're robbing from Peter to pay Paul, and whatever, I forget how the expression goes, but you know what I mean. It's not going to last forever. The benefits will run out eventually and we'll all be stuck. So I have the same skin on my Komodo. Do you like it? It took them a while to get it to me because they said they revised it. So I'm hoping that it works well and installation isn't too difficult, but we'll find out. Could be fun. Oh, see, this is why I always take the front cap off when you're putting pressure on these. Here's a top tip for lens people. This cap can just sort of buckle and separate because it's just a clicky cap. So if you just take that cap off, you remove that risk, or at least you reduce that risk. You know what, I just realized that my audio interface is turned way down. So I'm gonna change it, but you guys might have to turn your volume down now. So I'm sorry if this is too loud. So we only have some machines running today. I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background. But previous weekends when I would have normally been doing the mod stream, it was just relentless, and it would not have been interesting for any of you guys, so I just didn't do it. In my place, red camera is less preferred than airy. Don't know why. That's not uncommon. As far as professional cinematography goes, I think airy is still considered the professional choice. That's not to say that you can't get professional results with the red. It's just kind of, just has that stigma. It's like cars. Everything in this business is just like cars. You have Mercedes and you have Hyundai. You can still get a luxury car from Hyundai, but it doesn't say Mercedes on the back. It doesn't have the Mercedes badge. What are the chances of polishing the first element like R19 version 1 and it breaks? The chances of it breaking are slim. That's a pretty basic element. Nothing too complex with that particular element. It's nice and big. You don't have to make a the radius isn't challenging, so it's not. I wouldn't consider it high risk. I just realized that this is auto-focusing and I can hear it and it's really annoying. so it's one of the louder autofocusing lenses. I was listening to Quentin talk. It's funny when someone says Quentin, we all assume you're referring to Quentin Tarantino. Talk about digital versus film and how he hates digital and whatnot. In my opinion, he's limiting himself by not having an open mind, and in my opinion, all that matters is the end result. Yeah, I agree with what you said, but at the same time, we all have unjust limitations that we impose on ourselves. I don't think that he's hurting himself in any way by avoiding digital. And if he says, if he didn't say that, if there was some other director that felt that way, it would just be a different person saying the same thing. It's not like I don't think he's hurting the industry in any way by saying that. There's certainly no shortage of productions embracing digital cinematography. Alright, that's nice and clean. Arri and Red cameras are both great and produce amazing results. I agree. You know, the way I always put it, or the way I always think of it, I'm running out of space. Whatever camp you fall in, whether it's Red or Arri or Blackmagic, it doesn't really matter. You can give an untalented cinematographer any of those cameras. You can give them the best camera, and they're still going to produce junk. So it doesn't really matter. You just need to use the tool that allows you to achieve your creative vision. It's like the paintbrush analogy. You can give an amazing, talented artist shitty paintbrushes, and they'll still create a piece of art. You could give a very untalented person some of the finest paintbrushes in the world. They're not going to make a good painting. So I think the same applies for the cameras. And the people that get caught up in which camera is better, they're the same people that get caught up in which lens is better. There's not a bad lens, there's just different lenses for different jobs. Alright, that's nice and clean. Let's get our shims back in there. More about lighting for me and lenses, not just the camera. Definitely. Any predictions for Arri new Super 35 camera? That's been in the works for like 5 years now, I think. Every trade show, every big event, the rumor is that Arri is going to release their Super 35, their new Super 35 camera. It has yet to actually happen, but I'm sure that it'll be a great option when it does come out because it's Arri. So we'll see. I love how the cameras are smaller now because now we can place them anywhere without restrictions. Yeah, that's always a benefit. Good for those crash cameras. Do you think other manufacturers will keep making new Super 35 cameras, or is FF going to become the new standard? I don't think that Super 35 is going away, or at least, I shouldn't say Super 35. I don't think APS-C or crop format sensors are going away. I think there's always going to be a lower level of consumers, that prosumer market. That one came out really nice. Very happy with that. Oh, no stop screw. Like our CINE-MOD by Duclos are shimmable. Yes, but it depends on the lens. Some of them that don't have a floating element or floating group can be shimmed pretty easily. But some, like our lenses, need an internal adjustment to dial in the infinity focus. That might be a little too far over. Let's check that. Nope. Beautiful. Looking at the optical pathway there on the MK, I do wonder if PL mount is possible. It is not possible, Phil. I tried everything. EF and PL are not possible. To clarify, it's remotely possible with some significant modifications to the back end of the lens. Which, at a certain point, you're talking about a modification that costs as much as the lens, and it just doesn't make sense. So, believe me, I looked into it. I still get, to this day, emails at least once a week from someone saying, hey, can you convert the MKs to EF or PL? And I say, nope, sorry. I've looked into it so, very, very in-depth. Basically, I'll give you a little more information. The glass itself fits fine. There's no problem with that. The housing, the chassis for the actual zoom mechanics that are going back and forth are wider than a PL mount can be. So you'd have to remove all of those mechanics that allow the zoom to function correctly in order to make room for the PL mount, which at that point, and that's all part of the chassis, you'd have to remove every piece of glass, you'd have to machine the chassis, put everything back together. It would just be a huge task. It would end up costing probably half to 3/4 the value of the lens. And at that point, you might as well just get a DCO. Can't wait to receive my CINE-MOD 19mm V2 from you guys. Oh, nice. Is it here currently? Yeah, the macro mode's pretty awesome. I saw some content that you made, Phil, and that scene, that setup. I don't know if that's public, but I won't give anything away. But that was a super cool set. I loved that. I don't know what the hell that thing was, that gyro thing, but that was awesome. All right, this guy is done, ready to go to tuning. Next. Oh wait, let me bag up these bits. Creating a wormhole. Careful with that device. You're gonna open up the multiverse there, Phil. Would you choose the Contax Zeiss 8512 or Canon FD12? Oh, for me, the Zeiss Contax all the way. I love that lens. That's one of the lenses that I wish I owned that I don't. I haven't jumped into the Zeiss Contax world too much. I mean, we mod them every single day, but for my personal collection, I just know that if I start down that path, I'll end up spending way more money than I should. Do you guys do rehouse Ingenue 28 to 70 by chance? We can do our CINE-MOD, but we don't rehouse it now. That's another one of those lenses that people have asked us 1,000 times to do a rehousing. And I say, okay, so you want a PL mount 28 to 70 cinema lens. And they say, yeah. I say, okay, then buy the Ingenue 28 to 70 Optimo. And I get that it's a different beast. It's a vintage lens versus a modern cine lens. But that would be a very, very expensive rehousing project. I think the common misconception is that it can be done for $1,000 or something, and that's just not the case. Ooh, that's a lot of Loctite. Do you CINE-MOD the 40? Yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I have notes on that particular lens. Let's see, Ingenue. I don't have a note specific. I have the 20 to 70, 70 to 210. I gotta add that one to my list. That's I'm sure we've done that before. I just hate how short the focus pull. Okay, so you want a 20 to 70 PL mount with a long focus throw. That's an Optimo. You just described a 28 to 70, 28 to 76, I think it is. Yeah, 28 to 76 Optimo. T2.6, I think, for the short ones. about the Contax 85mm1.4? Worth considering for CINE-MOD or just if you already have other Contax lenses, I'd say yes, it's a fantastic addition. If you don't have any other if you don't have any other Contax context, then the Milvus is a fantastic lens. That was one of the lenses that was updated over the classic ZF2s. That was, in my opinion, much needed. Not many people complained about the original 85 Zeiss ZF2 classic, but it needed help. It had a ton of chromatic aberration. It had a lot of spherical aberration wide open. It was fine. It was just never a particularly good lens. So the Milvus is a pretty substantial upgrade over the classic. Do Duclos CINE-MOD Canon FD? Haven't seen it on your stream before. Not really. We do focus gears and front rings. I don't usually put it on the stream because it's just not as interesting without some of the disassembly that we put into declicking. So we don't declick FD lenses. I think I need to make one more modification to this design, just to make it easier for installation. Back to SolidWorks. that can still be used. Why don't declick them? Is it not worth doing? It's not that it's not worth it. It's it can be unreliable. It can be a lot of them rely on the click stops for the aperture to function correctly. So it's doable. It's just way more expensive, and we don't want to charge people something outrageous just because. See, how do I explain this? We don't want people thinking that it costs an outrageous number just because of the lens it is. It's not economical, you could say, on most of the FDs. Some of them are pretty simple, but most of them it's very, very in-depth, and to do it reliably costs a lot of money. So we just don't offer it. What am I looking for? I'm missing a tool. I'm gonna have to find that. Where did I put that? No idea. All right. I'll have to modify these later, if I do it at all. What are your thoughts on the Kip-on adapter, and if someone wanted to get into medium format lenses, how would you compare the Mamiya's versus the Pentax? I really like the Kip-on. I use the Kip-on speed booster on my Mamiya Secor C's to a Sigma FP, so 645 mount to L mount, and I love it. It's a nice little bump. It doesn't make them completely different. It's not like night and day, but it's a lot of fun. I like it. What's your opinion on FDs? Do you think they compare to Contax or Leica? They do compare to Contax. Like, I think they're incredibly overpriced at the moment. I think that people caught on to the fact that they're essentially the precursor to the K35s, and the K35s are impossible to find. That said, I've always preferred Leica R over the FDs, personally. I'm gonna wait for the air to stop there. There, it's done. But that's personal preference. I don't think there's a huge difference between the FD and the Contax or the Leicas. One FD for 5K. That's insane. It's people gouging. I hate to say it, but the more that people buy them at those prices, the higher they're gonna go. It sucks. It really sucks, because it's gonna trap people. It's gonna block people from getting into the vintage lens scene. Alright, let's get these shims. Hey, welcome back. Thank you. H, I don't know who H is. If you're a long-time viewer, welcome back as well. I was hoping to be quieter today, but the machines are still running. I can't complain. The machine's running means that we're producing new components and new pieces. We had some pretty fun projects that were a long time coming that we were finally able to pull the trigger on. So that's been keeping us pretty busy. Some of which are related to vintage lenses. We've been remanufacturing components for lenses that just aren't available, or parts that aren't available anymore. Speaking of declicking, is Leica R lenses worth to be declicked? Yeah, absolutely. Declicking on Leica R's is is pretty common. Oh, good morning, Tom. I know Simon said he had over 200 or more FDs in his case for modding. Ha! Ha! So is he hoarding all the FDs? Long-time watcher. I should update my YouTube name. Sorry, just H. It's very, very discreet. Due to Canon FDs coming up, do you know about the lens doctor in the UK having a special declick method for the FDs? I know of the lens doctor in the UK. I don't know what his process is for the FDs. I've never inquired specifically. That's one of those things where, like, if he has a special process, I'm not going to try and sneak his process. Send him to him. If he's worked hard to figure it out, then he's earned that exclusivity, so to speak. Are FD zoom lenses? No, not really. Not for cinema. Mechanically, they're just not very good. It's parfocal. It's not parfocal. Anybody that claims they have a parfocal copy is just either not looking close enough or they're lying. No, he was making his mount kit for them and they were waiting. Who? Oh, you're talking about CINE-MOD. Okay. Yeah, the Edmika thing. That's pretty cool. I'm glad that Edmika, I assume that's a mutually beneficial business relation. I don't know what deal CINE-MOD and Edmika have, but I hope that it's benefiting Edmika, because again, going back to that, what I said about the lens doctor, Edmika came up with a really cool design, so I hope that he's getting the credit he is due for that project. Okay. All right. This one's good. Ready for detuning. Or tuning, not detuning. Maybe we should detune the MKs. That would be interesting. A vintage-inspired Fuji MK set. Okay. It's hard to find a camera zoom lens that's good for cinema use. Yes. For as far as still lenses go and cine-modding, there's not a whole lot that's good. I think the most success I've had with vintage zooms, actually it's not even really vintage, but the Nikkor AFS, I think, I forget what they're called. It's the 17 to 35, 28 to 70, and 80 to 200. All of them are 2.8. They were all produced around the same time, and those are sort of the trinity, the holy trinity of still zoom lens conversions. They work great. It was the foundation of the Morpheus lens that TLS did in the UK for the Bourne identity that became pretty popular. The lens, not the movie. Obviously the movie's popular. And then we did our own version here. It was just a PL mount. It wasn't a full rehousing like TLS did. I think it's great if all of us have multiple opinions. Either modding. I agree. There's no reason not to be spreading that around. Have you ever seen a 3-lug bayonet mount? It seems to be like PL or 2/3 bayonet mount. 3-lug? You mean 3 screws? It's probably an Aton mount. If it's not PL and it's not B4, it could be an Aton. What about the Nikon 24-120 still lens? I've never used that. I don't know what that is. I don't think I've ever seen one from modding either. It's kind of slow, really. That range in a still lens, it probably telescopes significantly as well, which is a big no-no for cinema work. Those 3 lenses I mentioned before, the Nikons, they're all what we call constant volume. They don't telescope in and out, which is a big, actually no, I think the 28-70 does telescope a tiny bit. But a 24-1, what did you say? I lost it. 24-120, that's gotta telescope a lot. Good afternoon. It's morning, Tom. Speaking of afternoon in Chicago, I think Aubrey and I will be making our way up to Chicago for I forgot what it's called. That expo that Gary is a part of. So I'm sure that you'll be there because it's Chicago. Oof. Lots of thread locker. Have you tried any Minolta MC or MD? You mean the Rocors? Yes. I very much like the Rocors, but I still, for me personally, I don't prefer them over Leica Rs. Leica Rs are probably my favorite for that type of work. For that sort of vintage inspired, super lightweight, super compact setup. Fujinon's MKs for FX6 and FX9 are the Premistas? No. I'm not sure what you're asking. The Premistas are a completely different lens from the MKs. I think the best way to put it would be if the Fujinon lenses were Mercedes, this would be like the C class. It's very affordable. It's very, very comfortable. And then the Permistas would be like the Maybach version, the S class, all the stops pulled. I'm sending in my Zeiss 135 in soon. Last one for strip screws, thanks to my dumb. Still trying to get my hands on the 60 macro. I love that lens. Well, hopefully they're not stripped too bad. We really are struggling to like warn people of that, because there's no nice way to tell people like, hey, don't mess it up. You know, we try to politely tell people that, and they're like, no, I know what I'm doing, and then they have to email us back saying, yeah, I stripped it. So we're trying to like public service announce that as nicely as possible, but people think that we're just trying to like scam them into letting us charge them more for removing screws or something. It's not that people are incompetent. It's just those are really, really difficult screws. So don't feel bad, Johnny. They're notoriously hard screws to deal with. I think once I finish up this one, since I want to make those modifications before I do the tuning on these, I'm probably going to switch over to that Komodo skin, see how that goes. It's not really a lens thing, but it's still a mod, so I figure it's still relevant. It's still fun for you guys to watch. You guys could watch me struggle and mess up my skin, and then I'll have to call AlphaGuard and say, can you guys send another one? I messed it up. I'd rather get the 60 and send them both in for modding and service. Yeah, go ahead. That 60 is pretty awesome, not gonna lie. Both of those, actually, the 60 and the 135 are both, in my opinion, must-haves in a good set. Maybe not so much the 60, but that 135 is pretty magical, especially if you're shooting full frame. What do you like shooting, by the way? Do you shoot medium format, 16:4 perf 35? I shoot a lot of stills personally. I do a lot of tests that are in video, you know, on a variety of cameras. We have to do a bunch of lens tests, a bunch of detuning tests. But for my personal passion, my personal hobby, it's a lot of stills. And in that world, oh man, it jumps all over the place. I use everything from a Phase 1 IQ3 down to Fuji X100 and everything in between. I have oh geez, for medium format stuff I shoot film. I shoot 120, or sorry, I just forgot the name of it. It's the Rolly clone. Oh my gosh, how am I forgetting that? Yashica, it's a Yashica twin lens. And then for normal 135 film, I jump between a Zeiss Icon and a Nikon film body, and then for digital stills, it's constantly in flux. Right now, it's going between a Fuji GFX 100S, a Sigma FPL, and a Fuji X Pro 2. What do you think of the TLS newly announced Mamiya 645 rehousing? I think it's great if you need. Oh, hey Tito. It's a fantastic option if you need a really reliable set ready solution. When I say set ready, I mean like motion picture set where you have a dozen, 24 people's jobs depending on your focus puller. If you need that reliable focus pull, that calibrated focus, hard stops, integrated gears, everything, I think it's fantastic. TLS's mechanical work is second to none as far as rehousings go. If you don't need all that, you don't need the extra weight, you don't need the extra size, then just doing the CINE-MOD with our PL conversion is totally acceptable. So it's really horses for courses. If you need all that extra stuff, they're a fantastic option. Have you tried the Rollei SL66? I have not. For the money, would you go with a few Leica Rs or the new DZO Vespid? Ooh, that's a tough one. Personally, I would go with the Leica Rs if they were Summoluxes. If they were Summicrons, that would be a tougher choice between the DZO and the Leicas, but I'd probably still lean towards the Leicas. But it would also depend entirely on what I was shooting and how I was shooting it. If I was doing dock work and I needed to be really versatile, really fast, not have to worry about lens changes, yeah, I'd reach for the DZO, no question about it. Oh, I'm sorry, you said the Vespids, not the Pictors. Oh, that changes things. Changes a little bit. I would still go with the Summoluxes if that was an option for the speed, and they're super light and super small. If I needed something a little bit more reliable, something that had a warranty and I could still get parts for and didn't have to worry about all the usual trappings of a vintage lens, I would probably lean towards the DZO. But again, I am still kind of a speed freak. I would want those Summoluxes. Pretty sure of that. Have you seen the new Optimo Primes yet? How well? Yeah, it's right back. Which side? Yeah, it's, oh, you can't really see it. It's behind me right there. I don't know if I'm supposed to show that. Let's see what I can see. I don't think there's any embargoes on that. They come in a nice box. You could just sort of pull this foam out and put it in a case, which is nice. I don't think I'm supposed to show this, so don't tell Ingenue. But they're nice. They're really, really well built. They're really clean. They're really accurate. It's not going to be that typical Ingenue look, but I think that's a good thing because of all of the customization, the rear filters, the internal filters, the aperture, all that stuff. There's so much you could do to this, like DIY detuning. The options, I mean, the possibilities are limitless with the amount of customizing you can do. So I think these are going to be fantastic. No, I'm definitely not showing any internals. Well, I mean, there's nothing to hide because the whole thing is you can take apart like 50% of the lens pretty easily. There's a toolkit that comes with them when you buy the set. So there's your interchangeable filter. So these could be swapped out really easily. And then there's an internal one as well. And then the aperture, there's a whole bunch of different apertures you can get. This is the 18. This is the widest one, so it's a little slower. This is a T2. The others are all a T18, I think, or 19. So yeah, I have seen the new Optimo Primes. They also offer them with a focal reducer. Would you personally go for that or leave them Mamiya's focal length as they come? Who off? Oh, you're talking about TLS. That's a tough choice too, Tito. I do love the. I just happen to have everything you guys are asking about. So, on my personal set of Mamiyas, I do use the Kip-On reducer. And like I was saying before, it doesn't make a huge difference. It's not night and day. It's not like, oh man, that's magic. It just kind of helps a little bit. They have no reference point here. There's no good way to mount this. There we go. So I do use the reducer on my Mamiyas. But like I said, it's not like night and day. So this one I'd pair with my Sigma FPL, and it's a fantastic combination. I really enjoy these lenses on the FP. So in fact, I'll probably play with that today. Okay. It's a coincidence that I have everything that people are asking about, like right behind me. Nobody asked about the Kubrick lens. It's too far away. It's not behind me. It's in a very safe place. Oh. All right. I missed that Kubrick lens. I have to say, the Kubrick lens isn't as fun to shoot with as most people would think. No viewfinder, no reflex system. I heard someone just sold the Kubrick lens for something like 500K. Well, okay. I'll give you guys another. Lights auction, formerly Westlicht. I don't know how to pronounce it. There she is. The starting bid was 50,000 euros. Oh, you can't see that. 50,000 euros. The anticipated value is between 100 and 120. I don't know what it sold for. 500 seems high. It seems very high, considering it wasn't a true Kubrick version. It was a NASA model. But maybe that makes it more valuable. I don't know. I guess it depends on the person. Some space junkies may think that the NASA version is more valuable than the Kubrick version. I shouldn't say versions. They're not different versions. It's just who owned which model. Or copy. Again, not a different model, just a different copy. So of the 10 rumored to ever have been made, 20% of them have come through my hands, and the last one that I had a confirmed sale price was $120,000. I'll never get tired of talking about the Kubrick lens. It's a piece of history. It's the thing of dreams. It's the Holy Grail. Who can get tired of that? So like a set of K35s, yeah, exactly. I mean, the photography world sees a number like that and they freak out. But for us, you know, look at a set of Zeiss Supremes or Lights Primes, the new Lights Cine Primes. You're talking about $250,000 for a set of prime lenses. So it's not that big of a price tag. But when you specify like that, like, oh yeah, for one lens, that kind of makes it a little more special. Didn't use wide angle adapters. If you're referring to Kubrick, then yes. Yeah, he did. There were actually, so there were 5 units that Kubrick owned of the 10 rumored. One of which stayed a 50. One of them became slightly wider. I can't remember. One of them was supposed to be even wider, and it failed. They ended up scrapping that because it just wasn't the quality. And then one of them remained completely stock, completely factory, because they knew they wouldn't be able to get replacement parts from Zeiss. So if something happened on set and they needed to get a front element or a rear element or whatever, they had one more just in case that was never modified. And that's 4. I don't know about the 5th one. Maybe they didn't buy a 5. I don't know. If you ever get a chance on YouTube, he's called Cinematography. He goes into detail about behind the scenes on his films and like the Kubrick lens and other lenses and the interviews about them. I will have to look that up. There's a ton of misinformation out there around the whole Kubrick lens thing. It's hard to confirm a lot of that, obviously. Okay, that one's done. That feels good. Whoops. Okay, I'm gonna attempt this Komodo skin. Who was saying they had one on their camera? Whoever said that, Give me your tips now. But something he modded for the lens for Kubrick and was his tech for years and reads off the history. It might have been, I just forgot his name. I don't know. I can't remember his name. Ugh. Okay. Let's get all this junk off of here. Can't even get this SDI out. What's happening? It won't release. Well, that SDI is staying in there, apparently. Got a bunch of brand new Cooke SF anamorphics, and we saw no shims were delivered together with a note by Cooke stating shimming anamorphics out of factory is a bad idea. Any thoughts? Yeah, that's not completely inaccurate. Those lenses in particular are very, very sensitive. You can't just shim the back. You have to adjust other pieces. They are rather complex. I can see why Cooke would do that. I don't necessarily agree with it. It's kind of the whole right to repair issue. I don't know if anybody here has been following that, but that's, I think, very, very important, especially in our community, our filmmaking community. There's a lot of really expensive equipment that filmmakers buy, and for a manufacturer to say, well, you can't really repair it or you can't adjust it, that's kind of I don't know, that seems counterintuitive. But yeah, they're allowed to do that. I mean, it's their product. They can control it whether we like it or not. So I don't know. I think in that case, Cooke should say, sure, here you go, but if you break it, it's your problem. They shouldn't stop you from trying. They should just be completely honest up front and say, all right, if you think you can do this, go ahead. I don't think that means that they need to provide, oh, Ed, did you, okay. I don't think Cooke needs to provide training and manuals, but if somebody wants to undertake something like that on their own and sort of agree that, you know, they could ruin it, sure, that's their problem. That's the user's problem. That's their responsibility, their risk. We've been fighting that with Canon forever because we are not a Canon authorized facility. They require a lot of specific expenses. They require a lot of extra steps, basically, and they won't open up additional facilities because those steps haven't been taken. So. It seems like new practice at Cooke. We have Cooke trained technicians too, which makes it quite bizarre. It is definitely a new approach for Cooke, but at the same time, those were also by far the most complex lenses Cooke has ever designed. They're very sophisticated, very complex. Yeah, that's. I would push Cooke to reconsider, especially if we have factory trained technicians. Ooh. That's so small now. I haven't taken that cage off since I got it. It's getting dirty already. Hence the skin. Oh yeah, look at all that grime. So, quick recap for anyone that's just joining. I am very aware that this is not a lens, but it is modding, so I figured why not just, and I just got this skin in the mail from AlphaGuard, so I thought, hey, that'd be kind of cool to see how it goes, share that experience. I didn't put a link or anything in the description, but there's the product. Full disclosure, I did not pay for this. So we're gonna see how that goes. I've never even taken off the original screen protector here. By the way, you were talking about the 124G from Ashika. Yes. Is it a 124G? They made a couple different versions. It's the one with the integrated light meter, which is, as far as I know, a little less common because a lot of people had to add a light meter onto it. Follow the guide provided QR code. Try not to stretch the skin unless it's necessary. Remember you talking about Sleeper Vintage. Do you fear Media Division or other bigger YouTube channels blowing certain lenses out of proportion pricing wise? I think that there's a lot of influencers out there that can influence the market and trends. I don't fear that as much as I fear misinformation. There were some YouTubers that were spreading false information that really bothered me. So I would say be careful with that. I would say there's very, very, very little responsibility as far as honesty goes and like proper research when it comes to YouTubers. Let's see if I can't find this. Okay. Install guide, there we go. There's no There's no links. Alright, I guess I have to scan this with my phone. Okay. Adelson, you have skins, alright. Got my link. Okay, so got that. So I guess I can just sort of figure out which pieces are which. That's kind of cool. I mean, how hard could it be? That's obviously that right there. Let's start with that, I guess. Right, top. Oh, I see, it's labeled. Oh, left, right, top. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's the bottom. Yeah. What is that? That's the front. So this has to be the back. Oh yeah, that's the back. Okay. All right. This is not as hard as I thought. Let's start with this guy. Oh, these are nice. Oh man. Okay. Let's find out how well it lines up. Actually, it's not about, it's probably less about it lining up than it is about me lining it up. Oh geez. This is gonna require some patience. So I'm just sort of following the seams of the actual components. So they all seem to have a little bit of flex, which is nice because you can really sort of push and pull it how you need. Oh, and that's also how it's going to sort of make its way around curves. So it's vinyl, so it's got some give to it. So you can kind of you can accept a certain amount of mistake because you can kind of say persuade it. See, like this right here, I obviously stretched it a little too much here, and now I'm going to have this bump. There we go. That lined up pretty nice. Oh, you know what? It came with a little tool thing. Oh, this is what I should be using. Oh, nice. Yeah. Get all those air pockets. I should be using that and not my fingers. That makes a lot more sense. That side lined up perfectly. Get it under that little flap for the card slot. Got a little bump there. I might do some little modifications after the fact. Okay, one down. Man, all I can think about is how much time these guys put into designing these and getting every single angle perfect. That's commendable. That's pretty cool. I don't know how that looks on camera, but so far it's pretty seamless. Got a couple tiny air pockets. Okay. Where does this go? Is that meant to go somewhere? Oh, does it go on the top? No, that's part of the... Oh, it goes... Is that right? Yeah, okay. It's like under the door, basically. Oh, nice. This looks like it'll probably need refreshing every couple weeks or so, like this graded area, but that's fine. Okay, one side down. There's a 19mm unused photo right now for 900. Ooh, version 1 or version 2? All right, let's do the top. That's gonna be, should be pretty easy. There's not a whole lot of detail there. Top. Okay. I don't like the twizzlers. I'm gonna open up a kiosk in the mall. You could all bring me your Komodos, and I'll wrap them. Oh, that lined up perfectly. Look at that. That's cool. That one was easy. Oh man, that is seamless. Wow. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate the accuracy of this all. Like, this isn't just grabbing a CAD file. This is hours and hours of trial and error. What would be your go-to lens for that badass camera? For this camera right now, I'll show you. This is currently, oh man, I need to get a wrap for this now too. It's not a particularly good lens, but this right here, the Midicon Speedmaster. Look how tiny and compact that is. It's a 35mm T1, so f.95. That's super small, super compact, and the images that this lens produces are fantastic. They're not good, they're not clean, they're not accurate, they're not sharp per se, but they are beautiful. So this tiny little package, like that's, you could run around with just this and get beautiful, beautiful images. I mean, throw a battery on the back, that's all you really need. But this lens, they just started shipping. Quick plug, go to ducloslenses.com. Actually here. It's not a great lens. It's not built particularly well. It's not particularly sharp, but it is absolutely beautiful. Here it is, 35 Speedmaster. There you go. Oh man, thank me later. I mean, I'll thank you if you actually buy it, because you're buying it from Duclos lenses. But quick backstory with this one. Somebody was asking earlier what my go-to camera is. It's a 35mm, Harry. So the company that makes this, Zhongyi, they had made a photo version years ago in Fuji X mount, and I got it back when I had an X Pro 1. And then they revised it to a version 2, and I got that when I got my X Pro 2, and it's been practically glued to my Fuji X Pro 2 for years. It's a fantastic lens. I absolutely love it. I shoot tons of stuff with my daughters with that lens, vacation photos and stuff, and people ask me all the time, oh, is this medium format? Nope, it's Super 30, it's APS-C. Not even full frame. It's just fantastic. Anyway, enough of that. Should we go for the big guy? Should we go for the front? I think so. I might have to take the cap off because the cap is wider than the body. That needs to be cleaned anyway. So, all right, let's do it. Have you tried the full set? I have. They're all, well, not the, I've tried a pre-production version of the 50. The 50 T1, which is gonna be full frame. That should be pretty magical. Full frame PL mount. That one has not started shipping yet. I'm actually expecting my first shipment next week or the week after, not sure yet. That I think is going to be a pretty revolutionary lens for PL mount cameras. PL and EF, full frame. So I'm going to center this on the mount, and everything else should line up. Oops. Sorry, you guys probably can't even see what I'm doing there. So yeah, on the Komodo, I love that Midicon. And then if I'm doing actual, if I was shooting something that was not just me and like my daughter's running around, the Fuji MKs are, well, the MKR specifically, the one that I was doing the mod stream with, converting those to RF mount. Those are, in my opinion, the most versatile option you can get for the Komodo. If I was doing actual paid stuff and my job was on the line, the MKs are a fantastic lens. But that's really, I mean, I think kind of the real benefit to the Komodo is, to me, prices. The prices are all on the site. To me, the Komodo is like, I mean, I know you can, it's so versatile. You can use it for like a full featured production, like big budget stuff, no problem. It could be A cam, it could be B cam, it could be a crash cam. But what I think is really revolutionary, what was really commendable about this camera is that it can really be the modern day like home video camcorder. You know, there's no reason you couldn't take this to like a family gathering and get some really cool cinematic family home video. You know, it's like the modern day 16mm Super 8, whatever format your parents shot. I don't know if you're, depending on how old you are. But I have, most of my home videos were shot on camcorder, which is super small. You know, everything's in focus, whatever. But if you go back to like my parents, their stuff was all shot on film. And I think this is kind of that, like, why not? This is like the most sophisticated camcorder, which I realize is kind of a snotty thing for me to say. Like, that's not what it was meant for. Oh, I thought I ripped it. That's a seam. That's supposed to be like that. I want to line up these letters the best I can. God, the amount of detail on these cuts. Like, I'm sure that this is all laser cut, but still, the accuracy of it. Super impressive. Okay, got those down, got that down. Oh, that's a little bit of an air pocket. I gotta fix that. Nice, that was easy. That seems a little tricky. It's not perfect, but I can't fault them too much. That's a tricky transition there to make seamless. And I think that's going to get covered by my cage anyway. Okay, the top piece here. Yeah, so you got some holes. I think that was kind of inevitable. Yeah, it came out really nice. I think the Komodo is a step forward for Red, having an RF mount using normal data cards. Yeah, I mean, that goes a long way. Definitely. Any sub 10K full frame cine zoom recommendations, roughly 24 to 70. The only thing in that price range, well, okay, so Nick, that's a fantastic question. I would say you're definitely going to want to subscribe to the cinelens.com or the Duclos lenses mailing list, because there will be a sub 10K full frame, roughly that sort of zoom range. It's just not out yet. I can't say who it's coming from. I can't say what it is specifically, but definitely subscribe if you are looking for that. Currently, though, the best option I think would be something like the Ingenue EZs, which is not exactly sub 10K. That's going to put you just over 10K. So yeah, but subscribe to the mailing list and to the cinelens.com. Which lens series do you find more serviceable, a Canon CINE or a Xenon FF? That's a difficult question, because the Xenon FF is a more serviceable design mechanically and optically. It's a lot easier to tune, it's a lot easier to disassemble and make adjustments, but Schneider just stopped offering parts to third-party service facilities. So if you want to get a Xenon FF service, it has to go to Schneider, which is most likely going to end up going back to Germany. So it's kind of a catch-22 there. That's not dissimilar from Canon, though, because Canon is going to say, oh, you have to send it to us, and it goes to our Burbank or, New York facility, whatever. I think Able Cine is the only authorized Canon service center, but even then, I think Able sends most of their stuff back to Canon anyway. They're more or less a forwarding service. Okay, let's do the right side. Oh, it looks like I have to take the antenna off. Can I even get that off? Oh yeah. Are they both internal brass aluminum? No, they're not. Do you know about DuLens HK? Yes, I do. Not only because their name sounds very, very similar to Duclos lenses, but yeah, I've been watching their upcoming project, and it looks really interesting. I'm pretty excited for it. I hope that they do well with it. I like how much they're sharing publicly during the development of the lenses. That's kind of cool to see that evolution. Not a lot of lens manufacturers will do that. But I have not had any hands-on with those. I haven't had any tests, or I haven't really gotten to try them. So basically, I've only seen what everyone else has seen. Ooh, that's tricky. Getting it around the antenna here. Maybe I'll do a live stream of that new lens that I was referring to. In fact, Phil, are you still here? That might be a fun one to team up. Their millimeter seems similar to Helios. Uh-oh. I've definitely taken a step back from the lens police role. I've had another manufacturer, another company, I won't even say manufacturer, reach out to me with legal threats from talking about their product in a way that they didn't like. Who's sissy? Me? From the legal threats? I could tell you who the threats came from. I can't tell you what I know about them because then they'll sue me. Whoops, I just pressed a little too hard. That was a mistake. Got too aggressive. All right, getting there. Wow, this is taking longer than the lens mods. If you like, she could try a seagull twin lens reflex. A seagull. Who made the threats? The threats were master built. While on the topic of red, did they manufacture the red primes and zooms, or were they rehoused? Depends on which model you're referring to, but Red never made a lens, ever, period. They had other companies rehouse other lenses, and they had other companies make lenses for them. So it's a whole myriad of business relationships. The primes were made by, they were basically made under contract by another company. Same as the 18 to 85. The two small zooms were rehoused Sigma lenses done by Cook in the UK. The 300 was a rehoused Tamron. A whole bunch of, depends on which one you're talking about, but yeah, they were all different sources, different partnerships and agreements. I think most of those NDAs have since expired, so I shouldn't be in any hot water there, I hope. Duclos Lenses was involved in a lot of that early on. Whoops, I just stuck this whole side piece. Oh, that's so satisfying when those seams are perfectly aligned. Okay. Don't the red primes supposedly have some Cook glass in them? No, absolutely not. There is zero Cook DNA in the primes. Cook did the mechanical housing only of the 18 to 50 and 50 to 150. The optics in those two zooms were Tamron. Tamron or Tokyo? I think it was No, I'm sorry, those were sigma. For the glass, at least. But not made by Sigma. They just took a Sigma 18 to 50 and 50 to 150 and rehoused them. Seagull dealer was a Chinese. Oh, okay. Do you know who was behind the primes? Yes. That one I might still be prohibited from discussing. But it doesn't really matter for the primes. It was, well, anyone that's interested in that, look up the whole thing with unique optics, and that'll give you an idea of what was going on there. It gets messy for me to talk about, so I think what I could say is that the red ones didn't end up being manufactured by Unique Optics. They had another company manufacturing, but the optical design really didn't change much at all, despite what certain claims said. All right, that's pretty solid there. Are any of my Formula One people here today? If so, don't say anything. I mean, don't spoil anything. I haven't watched qualifying yet. What is, oh, is this the antenna? Aha. That's pretty cool. It's getting there. What is left? Just the bottom, and then are these for? What else is there? Oh, maybe those... I don't get that. What team do you go for? I am Red Bull all the way. Which means tomorrow will be very interesting. I haven't watched qualifying, but that battle between Hamilton and Verstappen is going to be interesting. Mount skin. What? Oh, for the adapter? It's here somewhere. Oh, that's cool. I'll have to find that and install that. Where did I live? I put it somewhere. All right, I'll set that aside then. That makes sense. Thank you for telling me. All that's left is the bottom, but I don't know if I even want to do the bottom because I'm just putting the plate on it. You're not going to see it at all. Might as well. I hope Lando gets it. Oh man, who doesn't want Lando to get a podium? He deserves it. I think him and Verstappen and George Russell are the future of Formula One. And Leclerc, maybe. If Ferrari can get their shit together. So I'm sorry if you guys all came here for lenses. This took way longer than I thought it would, but it's super satisfying for these to like fall into place perfectly. I mean, if you have a Komodo and you want to protect it, I don't see why you wouldn't do this. It's not, I was worried that it would be like gummy, sticky stuff, but it peels off super easy. It doesn't leave any residue. I don't know that it peels off easy enough to like swap it out on a regular basis. I'm gonna leave my stars. And then I think I assume that's for the eject buttons, but I'm gonna leave those red. That's such shitty plastic. Like the whole camera is really, you know, nicely built and all aluminum, and then you've got like this junk plastic for the eject button and the record button. It doesn't match. So now do we even want to put the cage back on it? Does it fit? It does fit. Kinda. Ooh, it's snug. Oh, that's not how it comes out. It's gotta go this way. I don't know, I might leave the cage off of it for now. It looks so cool. Uh-oh. Oh man, I scraped up that side. So basically, if you have a cage, you're gonna scrape your skin. Well, I can cut out a little piece from that spare that I have and patch it up. There we go. I'll fix that. There, Yeah, I'm gonna leave the cage off of it for now. In fact, this little combo is probably coming home with me to do some more shooting. Look at that. I should just wrap the lens now. I should talk to these guys, talk to AlphaGuard and say, hey, I need a wrap for the Zhongyi. Last week he held up really well. Very unfortunate ending. Yeah. I think Leclerc is a really smart driver. Yeah, I agree. Max should have gone. Yeah, I agree. I mean, people are really trying to like pick sides both ways. But at the end of the day, you're racing. Max should have given way, and Hamilton shouldn't have put himself there. It goes both ways. They're both at fault equally, I think. A lot of static? I don't hear any static. What's your opinion on Red Rod? The company's trying to sue. I don't have an opinion on that. I'll stay out of the camera battles. I do feel that credit should be given where credit is due. If Red has some sort of patent, then they should honor that. Simple as that. I'm all for intellectual property. Speaking personally, because I've had my intellectual property completely ripped off, like from product design down to product pages on websites to everything. Like my entire website has been ripped off by other companies and the products. Where do I put this? Oh, I could put Komodo right there. I'm gonna do that. There's no easy way to do the spacing here. You know what, I should just start with the center and go out. Here, this is what we're gonna do. Oh, it's like anti-stick. Yeah, the tape won't stick to it. Damn. Well, I'll just eyeball it. Oh my god, that's so crooked. That was terrible. Oh. It was not aligned correctly. Could be worse. Could be worse. It looks like the Hollywood sign all jacked up. Yeah, that's not terrible. Anyway, are you going to do a follow-up to the new lens roundup? In the stream you mentioned you might do some tests comparing lenses. I had planned on it, but they kept releasing new lenses. So I will do another one when there's some more lenses coming in down the pipe. Specifically, I want to do the 50mm Midicon. I want to do another lens that I was talking about earlier that I can't give specifics on, and then I want to throw in some like higher priced lenses to really sort of give a baseline. You know, these are all the new lens roundup was all sort of the cheap stuff. So I want to say, you know, I want to show everyone, here's all the cheap stuff. Here's something 2 to 10 times the price. Take your pick, anywhere in between. Okay, that was cool. I enjoyed that. That was therapeutic. Can't forget my antenna. So yeah, completely spur of the moment. If you guys are interested, check them out. Where's their website? Alpha GVRD. So I think it's Alpha Guard. I'm not really sure. .com. Oh, heat gun. Oh, I didn't know that. That would have been handy. This icon though for the heat gun is questionable. Hold on. Look at that. It looks, you probably can't see the detail, but it looks like the heat gun is spraying water onto the lens. That's not right. Anyway, that was fun. That was, I think I'm gonna enjoy that. In fact, this is coming home with me because I'm gonna go play with this lens. I will put some results up from that. So check out, where do I put that? Maybe I'll put it in YouTube Shorts. Maybe I'll probably end up putting it on the Duclos Lenses Instagram. So super simple plugs there. Subscribe to YouTube. Subscribe to or follow us on Instagram at Duclos Lenses. Yeah, I'm gonna call it there for the weekend and go watch the qualifying race. So thank you guys for coming back to the mod stream. It took a little bit, but I'm glad we're back. And I will probably be here next weekend again. And yeah, thank you guys.